is who I know.
This
That's the
section,
one you know. Yeah, I know who it is.
again, all of chapter 1 is kind of a review. Tables and graphs. You are going to have to make a couple of graphs. One's just a line graph. The other's a bar graph, if I remember right. The other ones is just answering questions by looking at graph. So, everyone remembers what data is? Hopefully?
It's a graph.
No?
Wait, what?
Oh, the
No, it isn't.
answers, isn't it? Like the.
What did you say?
Data. What's data?
Stuff you put in.
Information.
Information.
Oh,
right?
good job,
Stuff you
Gretchen.
put in your graph. So, a bar graph and a line graph. I think everyone knows the difference, right? I hope.
Yeah.
Bar graph obviously has bars. A line graph has dots with lines connected to it. Now, to decide which is used for what, a line graph is usually used over time to show what something goes up or down. A bar graph compares different types of things to each other. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a line graph is over time, a bar graph compares different things. Okay. So here we've got study on how much people in the U.S. spend for cable and satellite. In which one-year period did the amount spent for cable and satellite increase the most? So, we would look at the bar graph. Looking at this, can you tell which year it increased the most?
No, they kind of all look the same.
It kind of
98, 99.
98, 99.
No.
No, it's the same.
I would say maybe this one looks like the most, 96 to 97. To me, it looks that way. Now, whenever they ask about what can be deceiving about a graph, we did a lot of this in 8th grade and 7th grade. What would be deceiving in this graph, if you remember, just by looking at it?
Wait, what was your question?
It's skewed so long.
Yep, it does. You remember what? It's got the break in it.
Got the.
Anytime they ask what can be deceiving, that's probably what it is, because it's got a break in it. It jumps all the way from 0 to 100, and then it goes up like that. Okay? So, if you look at this bar looks like it's about, it's not quite, but it's about half that bar. So you may say 2000 is doubled from 96, but it wouldn't be if the whole graph was here, right? If they made the bars all the way from 0 up by 20s, then you would see that this bar is not twice that. Okay? So remember, that little thing is called the break. That's why you'd explain why it's misleading. Okay. Now here it says draw a new bar graph that would not be misleading, so what would you have to do?
Go from.
Don't make a break.
Right, don't make a break.
I didn't know it was called break.
Huh?
I thought it was just
You
like
didn't?
a squiggly do. I never even looked at that. Admittedly.
Squiggly doo.
Okay, so here we have years from 93 to 99. The average school spending for student in the U.S. is given. So when it's years and you're going to compare how much it goes up or down, you do a line graph. So here they did it for us. When you draw the line graph or a bar graph, the things most people forget that get counted wrong on are to do what on a graph, if you remember from last year? Labels.
Oh, I always forgot to do that.
Yeah. Label it so someone can look at this and know what they're talking about. Label this axis and label that axis. 3 labels. Make sure you put those in. So, again, I think everyone would be able to do this, right?
Yeah.
You guys can make your line graphs?
Yeah.
Okay. At 93, you put a dot at, you just estimate where it's at. 5804, so that's at 6,000. They labeled 1,000, so you just estimate where the dots are, then you connect it. So it looks like it rose every year, right? If they told you to interpret this graph, the easiest interpretation would say it went up each year. It increased each year. Okay? So really that's all it is looking at line graphs and bar graphs. You do have to make two, if I remember right. You have to make one line graph in your assignment, and you gotta make one bar graph. Okay? So remember to label them. Title, label, label.
What if you forget the title?
Then you get a point off.
Oh.
Okay?
I love
You can go up by any amount you want. You can use a break. You don't need a break. If you want to put one in, you can, but you don't have to.
I don't know how to do it. Lindsay wants to use a